Bailiffs are making record profits chasing council debts. In Birmingham, referrals have gone up by a shocking 500%. Don't you think that councils should find an alternative solution while so many people across the UK are struggling financially? The BBC asked councils for a Freedom of Information request, which makes a direct comparison of the number of referrals between certain dates from the previous year. And the figures are shocking. Over 43,000 referrals were made in just 7 months in Birmingham. That's nearly 6 times more than the year before. One mum was expected to pay out nearly £2,000 for a clean air zone mistake, which I'll get onto in a minute. Let's get away from the figures for a second and drill down exactly what this means. We're still in the middle of a cost of living crisis where soaring bills have caught people out and driven many people across the UK into debt. Bailiffs are intimidating people to pay unpaid penalty charge notices, council tax or court fines. When you add the bailiff fees along with the existing debt, it's thrusting people into more financial difficulty. One Birmingham mum, Chorley Council, had a handful of clean air zone fines when she was visiting her son in hospital. She had bailiffs on her doorstep threatening to take her car if she didn't pay over £1,000 worth of fees. At this point, she'd already forked out over £700. She admits that she should have paid the fines, but also said her situation could have been handled with a lot more compassion. If the council had asked why the fines hadn't been paid, she could have explained her stressful and personal family situation. If you've had a letter from bailiffs, I'll let you know exactly how to deal with them soon. Surely at this point, when people are struggling to make ends meet, there should be a different solution. Chorley Council have to be commended for their attitude. They're trying to support their residents by referring vulnerable people into a social prescribing team for help. Bailiff referrals have dropped by 80% and they've claimed it hasn't harmed the council's finances because they're getting to the root of the problem earlier. I don't understand why, in this day and age, some councils are still going really heavily down the bailiff route. Is it laziness? This practice started about 400 years ago and intimidation shouldn't be used as a threat to make you pay. If other councils are finding other methods effective, then shouldn't this be rolled out across the board? While family debt's risen to over £2 trillion in the UK, bailiffs' turnover rises by nearly 50% in a year. It's just not right. Bailiff fees are massively overpriced and exacerbate the situation. The letter they send you will cost you £75. A home visit costs £235, and if they take your belongings, that's an extra £110. And that's not including the 7.5% they add to those last two totals for debts over £1,500. That's a lot of money. If you've received a bailiff letter and you're expecting a visit, it's really important to know that they're not allowed to force their way into your home for most debts. They can only turn up between 6 in the morning and 9 at night, and they can't bully you. Be aware of your rights so that if they make a mistake, then you can make an official complaint. If they arrive at your door, you're within your rights to speak to them through the letterbox. You don't even have to open it. Always ask for ID and any paperwork to prove they are who they say they are. While the UK is still in a cost of living crisis, I think alternative methods to bailiffs should be put into practice. We shouldn't feel threatened at home for what sometimes can be just a human error. It's easy to judge if you've never been in this situation before, but some people can genuinely not afford to pay. Instead of reaching out for help, they live in hope that the debt might go away. If you've received a fine or bill from the council that you can't afford to pay, pick up the phone and explain your financial situation and see if you can come to some sort of an agreement to pay that money back in manageable amounts. The earlier you confront the issue, the better, and there's a much bigger chance that no enforcement action will be taken against you. There are also organisations like Step Change, Citizens Advice, and the Money Helper website who can help you out. If you're struggling, please reach out for help.